Hello and welcome back to Star Trek Next Frontier. This is episode 10, A Place for Everything. This is the third session, possibly final session, but who knows, sometimes we stretch into a fourth. So this is the season finale of Star Trek Next Frontier's first season, and it has been a wild ride so far. David, our illustrious Lieutenant Frank Drake, is going to give us the usual recap. So if you would not mind, sir, could you please catch everyone up?
Indeed. So previously on Next Frontier, the episode started with Lieutenant Weber exiting his Bashoran shrine with a message for the captain. He then spends a while running around the ship trying to find her before making his way to the medical bay, where she is currently in a medically induced coma by our Lieutenant Thadagia. But unfortunately, he cannot pass his message along, but we do find out that he's covered in Verteron particles, and we're all very confused as to what's going on there. In the Borg situation, they are seeming a lot less Borg than we first expected. They seem to be quite individual, and we're able to escape the Borg assimilation with the assistance of some advanced technology from an alien race who seems to have died in the encounter, or disappeared at least. We invited them aboard our ship. After a bit of talking, there's still a lot of paranoia going around, and they seem very annoyed about the fact. But they are currently assisting us in repairing our ship and have come up with a plan to make our way to the center of this little pocket universe where we believe some almighty being may be imprisoned. So at the moment, we've just agreed that we need to help give them a part of our deflector shield, not a deflector dish, apologies, to adjust the diffractor non-thermal polarizer equalizer, if I've remembered that correctly, to create a transwarp bubble to travel into the terminus. During this time, whilst we were dealing with making sure they didn't try and take over our ship because of the Borg, Lieutenant Weber was also working on a way to disable the connections on the off chance they get hostile. And finally, our episode ended after agreeing to the plan of the Starfleet Borg with the not dead James finally arriving. Not dead, but not the non-real James. Very confusing. But the one of the two Jameses has woken up, and Thadagia has a fun time dealing with all of this.
Schrodinger's James.
What's
Which
that?
James?
Schrodinger's James.
Schrodinger's James.
Yeah. Which one is it? Is she alive? Is she dead? Is she James? Is she not? Anyone else want to add? Thank you again, David, for that. Does anyone else want to add anything that you may remember or may want to emphasize from a previous session?
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh, one thing to mention is everybody seems to forgot Weber existed whilst he was gone.
Yeah.
Which is, spooky.
That is one.
Yeah, and he also forgot half the message. The more he thought about passing it on, the more he forgot.
Like waking from a dream, how it's fleeting from your mind. And the message was
coordinates.
There you go. Yeah. Portions of the message that weren't gibberish. The number portions were not so much like directly coordinates, but when figured out that it's the way the message was being spoken, almost like a code in that, and just breaking it down with the numbers that he was rattling off in his wild frenzy, they would line up with coordinates. And do you remember coordinates to where?
Yes, but I think the very last thing was that I wanted to speak to the captain in private, or to the commander.
Mm-hmm.
That was right before the to be continued was
okay.
Put on screen.
Okay. We'll have to start close to there. The to be continue happened when Commander Locke was who is now the captain of the ship, while Captain Savek is clearly incapacitated. Commander Locke was called down by Dr. Thadagia because the Hollow James woke up. So whether he's going to rush down there first and check with what's going on, since he was beckoned down there, or if you have a chance to pull him aside before that, we'll have to figure that out in a second. Everyone okay? Everyone's good?
Aye.
Okay. I just want to make sure there's nothing else I need. No, oh yeah, just the fact that Alder and Krell are off working on their own things right now. They still continue to exist in your memories, so you don't have to worry about that. You could refer to them as necessary, so they are still around. All right, so why don't we jump into things? So I think that's a good enough question because Commander Locke, you were called down to sickbay because one of the two James has regained consciousness. So are you going to head there immediately? Again, Lieutenant Weber also wants to speak with you as you are getting this call as well. So it's your choice which one takes priority.
I think Weber just joins in on the turbo lift, which conveniently will take just long enough for this conversation to take place.
If that was how you're going to do it, then you could just cram in there with him, sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was imagining like him following me and getting like a West Wing scene with just informing them as they walk through the hallways.
That could do it. That could do it. All right, so two you go into the turbo lift, and there you go.
So, Captain, I think I have made sense of the numbers in this message, as we assume they seem to be coordinates. 3
ordnance.
Yeah, and 2 of them seem to be the entry points to the Bajoran wormhole in the Alpha and Beta quadrant. And the third one is in the Delta quadrant. I can't make sense of it, but I think it's safe to assume it might be an additional, yet uncharted entry point to that wormhole.
Is there any way that we can make use of it from inside, from where we are?
Is there, Phil?
Not that you can tell at this moment. There's nothing that suggests any relation to a wormhole at the moment. So I would say no without further research, but it doesn't appear to be.
I didn't want to mention it in front of our guests because I still don't know what these words mean. It could be anything from instructions to an attack plan. And as I've told you, I've forgot. Oh, wait a second. What if I didn't forget half the message, but literally half the words? And there's a way to fill the gaps to make some kind of message out of it.
Remind me, Lieutenant, how did you come about this message?
I really don't remember. I just remember entering the shrine and then exiting it again with this message in my head, which I seem to remember made sense the very first couple of seconds. And then the more I thought about it, the more it disappeared. That's why I think it might still have been an English message, but I might have just forgotten parts of the words and not parts of the message as a whole. Maybe if I can run it again through the computer, and
have you been able to bring yourself into the same state within your shrine again?
I can try, but as you might remember, this led to everyone forgetting about me for, I think it was a couple of days, wasn't it? So I don't know where I actually went when I was in there, And
If you believe this is connected to our current situation and that it might help lead us to an exit, then I encourage you to attempt to re-enter this state to see if you can regain this possibly missing parts of this message.
yes, maybe I
At this
can.
point, the projects for the disabling the our guests seem to be bearing little to no fruit. So this might be an alternative for you to spend your time on in the meantime.
Yes, maybe I can bring in some extra recording devices, because everything that was in the shrine, everything that's installed in the shrine was affected too, and there's just no records of whatever happened in there.
I would love to be able to afford you additional personnel to attempt this, but as you know, the ship is already extremely stressed for...
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
So yes, this is something I will try. I would like to spend an hour or two again on this message before I enter the shrine, which isn't free of risk, obviously.
Do as you see fit.
Okay, sir. Then I think I'll exit right here, because this is where the science station is.
Okay.
So I'll get back to you as soon as I find out anything.
Let me know if you have any new breakthroughs.
Absolutely, sir.
And
I briskly turn off and head in the direction of Medbay.
Okay, let me get the visuals ready on the sick bay there. So we're going to go into sick bay. So Thedagia, my friend, are you there? Can you hear me? Everything's still working?
I am here.
Oh, okay. So what's been going on now for your character while you've been out? Of course, as you heard in the recap, the captain is succumbing to her illness. Currently, she is sedated on the in the med bay because there's really nothing more you can do. Her medication has run out. So basically, even if you do get out of this pocket universe, there's still a chance that her condition's too far gone to be saved. But if you don't have her sedated, then definitely she is not long for this world. And even in sedation as well, she's still deteriorating. She's still just out there present on the bed, unable to do anything, and her condition is worsening. You just have her in probably the most relaxed state possible that she could be in. So you're dealing with that. What I left it since you were gone. I left it for you to come up with how you would like to handle that situation with her, what ideas you have, maybe to keep her alive to get out, or if you're just going to have to make the hard choice and realize that there is nothing you could do and the resources need to be used elsewhere. So I left that for you. I didn't want to do that while you were not involved. So that's really priority number one for you in sick bay. But the second choice is, or the second point, I don't know if you could see the picture on Roll20, but you also have the two Lieutenant James in the other beds in sick bay there. One was a biological, the usual biological Lieutenant James, who was beamed in to sick bay in an emergency transporter when you got word that she was injured. However, the one who was injured didn't get beamed in. They were brought in by Ensign Brooks. That is a nurse in sickbay now. You might see her image there standing in the corner. She was brought in from engineering where Lieutenant James was injured, but you discovered that James was a hologram. So the physical James got beamed in, was already unconscious, and I wouldn't say brain dead, but there's very minimal brain activity, and she cannot be revived thus far. She's still unconscious. And the James who was in engineering that got hurt in the explosion, she just came to not too long ago, and that's when Tadagia called for Commander Locke to come down to sick bay. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. Just coming in immediately. Before we start the scene, do you have any questions you would like me to elaborate on about what's been going on and what Tadagia has been doing in the first part of this episode?
At the moment, well, this is more than enough to to fill my plate for the moment. But I can work with this.
Okay.
Is anybody else, I should say, aware of what's occurring in the city other than Brooks?
I think just Locke was apprised of it. I think perhaps Lieutenant Weber, when he stopped in to find the captain, that he noticed there's weird things going on. So there's probably a few crew members that know about the James situation. As for the captain, I think it's pretty much the whole crew knows by this point. However, the you were also not here, so it's kind of hard how to express it properly. The Borgified crew of the USS Darwin, who are not really assimilated, but they are assimilated. They don't look assimilated, we'll put it that way, but they had been assimilated, just not into the Borg collective, because also one of the scans that you and Ensign Brooks did on one of the crew members, Lex of the Darwin, the nanoprobes that are in her body, they have some sort of a barrier around them, so it's preventing like transmission, so it wouldn't actually be connecting to the outside hive if there was one in this pocket universe. So okay. They seem to be I don't know, muted nanoprobes inside these people. They're still connected together. They're still getting benefits from these nanoprobes, but it's like the transmission is being cut off.
Okay, so more like an isolated hive than a hive.
Yeah, I think that would be the most accurate way of describing it. So they're on the ship too, and so far it's been Locke's policy not to really spread word of what's going on with the captain to the Darwin crew, just in case. So those guests so far do not know. Everything good? And again, if you have a question when the scenes are going on, something that Tadagia would probably have known by this point, please just speak up and someone will get to you. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so Locke, you're going to show up in sickbay at this time, and the Hollow James is sitting up on the bed, the one that was described as the Hollow James. I'm sure Ensign Brooks is lurking in the background somewhere for this, but Locke, you're there. One of the James is conscious and sitting up on the bed. The other one that shows no signs of physical injury is still unconscious. And of course, the captain is still right where you left her, Locke.
Lieutenant Tadagia.
Commander. I'm going to just kind of step back in, sort of, display what is obviously here with James. Sir, as you can see, we have a conundrum.
And what can you tell me about it?
Well, as far as we can tell, they are both Lieutenant James, in a sense. I'm going to point to this, as far as we can tell, is the original Lieutenant James, who is unconscious. We're not picking up any signs of physical consciousness as far as why we cannot wake her. Lieutenant James over here was brought in by Brooks. She was injured in engineering. However, she physically is not quite Lieutenant James as well, as her makeup seems to be that of, similar to that of a hologram.
And how, aside from her physical status, how is she doing otherwise?
I would like to point out I'm right here.
Yes.
But they're doing that whole Star Trek thing where they have that powwow 5 inches away from the person, and they still pretend like that person isn't part of the conversation in sickbay. Which
Yeah, that's why James is going, I am right here.
I always wonder why are this side note, why, but look at sickbay. Why are they so small on all the ships? Like Voyager's sickbay was like 3 beds. Like, come on, people. Like, I mean, I know they have faith in their medicine, but surely when there's an emergency, you're going to need more space.
Emergency, yes. Yeah, really.
But anyhow, I digress. They're just doing the whole trope thing of, like, she's more than an inch away. There's no way she could possibly hear what we're saying.
If you would like to, I'm pretty sure she can speak for herself, Lieutenant James.
Thank you. This is a little complicated. Might have been a little less complicated if the captain was awake.
If there is information that the captain had previously, then given our situation, and both with the captain and our more pressing general situation of our location and current guest, I believe it is pertinent that you share any and all information you might have previously shared with the captain.
Right. I think I would need to check first, but I think this is perfectly explainable. And so I've been working on something in the holodeck, a way to transfer a consciousness into a holographic, sort of pointing at herself, body. The idea behind that was if we needed to send someone into a dangerous situation or a hostile environment, the person going would not be in any danger. The hologram, usually being, quite impervious to damage, could do what needs to be done, come back, and transfer a consciousness back. Now, when the captain told us she was stepping down and was sick, I went to the holodeck and had the idea of perhaps I could modify the program to suit her, the Vulcans being much different to humans, clearly. And while there, we had a power surge go through the entire system. I don't remember exactly what happened, just I woke up on the floor and off I went down to engineering and went to check things out, and not long after that, well, a console exploded, which was very unpleasant. So
So if I
I've
understand-
shown this to the captain. Weber was also in on the conversation. If he's around, you can verify what I've just said with Lieutenant Weber. But I believe that's what's happened here. Looking at the scans of, well, myself, I believe that what caused the power surges potentially caused additional issues. The program I had a lot of safeties in it to prevent things like this, but I suspect the power surge caused the program to run not as intended.
I
And
see.
rather than a simple copy of a consciousness, it has potentially done a full, for lack of a better word, move.
I see. So potentially the program did a proverbial cut instead of copy.
Yes. Yeah.
But if I'm understanding this correctly, you have no reason to believe that this event was caused by something inherent by this pocket dimension we're in. It's not something we have to worry about simply happening to the rest of the crew.
No. The program running was the power surge, which I believe we were hit at that moment with one of the alien weapons. And that's without having a look at scans of what the weapon was or what energy type and whatnot, I couldn't say for certain, but I suspect that weapon has caused a power surge through the grid, through the EPS conduits, and caused all sorts of issues in potentially part of what's causing the console or consoles to explode. Was anyone else injured, by the way? Looking more towards the Dajia.
Am I familiar with all of the injuries?
There was probably a number of minor injuries throughout
Minor
the ship
injuries.
when that, yeah.
Nothing major, mostly minor.
That's good at least. But you said we had guests on board?
Yes. Everything has happened so quickly, I forget that you might have been out for this. We have made contact with the DARWIN, and as good as that may sound initially, it is
that was
extremely complicated.
60, 70 years ago.
Yes. Apparently, they have been here for quite some time, and in their time here, they encountered a group of Borg. Bad news is that they were assimilated. The good news, if you can call it that, is they found or were given a means of preventing full assimilation. And so their current state is a sort of pocket hive mind that is separate from your traditional Borg infrastructure. So they maintain a piece of themselves. They still consider themselves Starfleet, but they are probably somewhere in between. For the moment, they are docile enough, and they have not tried to force us to join their collective. But
that's good.
They are still Borg, and we must be vigilant.
Indeed.
Our current goal is to bring them back safely to Starfleet so that we may return them to their former selves. But they are not aware of this goal yet. They actually have not realized, or we have not informed them, that we have had previous dealings with the Borg. They entered this place before Starfleet first encountered the Borg, and so we at least have that card up our sleeve, that they do not realize that we have dealt with this before. In the meantime, we are working together with them to try and find a solution on how to leave this pocket dimension.
Any progress on that front?
Not the type I would like to have found. The current best solution that we are moving forward with is to combine parts from our ships in order to try and build a device or a modification that would allow us to travel to the seemingly infinite position within this pocket dimension. We hope to find an exit there, but it means putting a great deal of trust in the Borg.
What
so
are we
than-
planning on giving up? Or what parts of what ship?
Mostly parts of the shield generator and possibly of the engine. So nothing small.
That would leave us, well,
Very vulnerable, I agree.
the
But
deflector.
the truth of the situation is that even with all of these parts, they could still destroy us at a moment's notice, given their munitions compared to ours, munitions and energy resources. So,
Have we tried looking at their systems and seeing if their systems can be upgraded as opposed to them taking ours?
our engineers have been discussing it. However, unfortunately, we have very short on engineers recently, given your current situation and among others in the engineering group. We're short-staffed throughout the ship, as you probably know.
Well, as I guess chief engineer, I would strongly suggest against giving over our deflector. Without that, we have limited sensors, no ability to deflect minor particles, of which could tear us to shreds, and our shields would be limited. Not to mention our navigational issues.
I'm sure they would not request us to take so much of it that we would have no defense against the standard space travel.
Would you be opposed if I talk to them? Maybe go investigate their ship?
Absolutely not. In fact, I'm happy to bring you back into this situation. Please do not misunderstand my position. I'm not happy to give these Borg anything. However, I must take the course of action that has the highest chance of returning as many crew as possible.
With our power levels, I'm not sure how long I've been out, but I know our power levels weren't good when
That's precisely
when my
the
console.
situation. Given a normal situation, would not be approaching a group of Borg, however disconnected they may be, in this fashion. But we're really on our last leg here.
Agreed.
Okay, I
I
have
will
to
arrange a
interrupt.
meeting.
I have to interrupt for a moment with a 2-threat spend as Thadagia, behind you, the biobed starts beeping as the captain's condition starts to deteriorate even further. You're going to need to really spring into action immediately here. You've been dealing with this on and off as her condition has been getting worse, but like the interval between these happenings is getting shorter and shorter.
Captain. Okay, can I run a simple scan to see if there's anything particular sticking out that might be causing this, or this is just generally a part of what is already happening?
Yeah, the scan shows that this is just generally the natural progression of this illness in its final stages, and that, as I said, you have her sedated to try to lower her metabolism as much as possible, but it's not like stasis. So she's just lying there on the bed, and her body is still going to wear out, and so it's getting to the point where you get these alarms going off. You have to hurry up and treat her, but you're basically just very, very slowly delaying the inevitable.
Commander, as you can see, she doesn't have much time left, and we're basically out of options at this point, given our current predicament and our limited power. I have some ideas, but none of them are actually that great, considering. I had an idea, but the possibility of storing her pattern in the transporter buffer as a temporary stay on her condition, it's not going to be a save all, but it might be able to keep her in a genuine state of stasis until we can find a better space to treat her. However, like I said, that's going to possibly take up some of the ship's power. That's one idea. I'm frankly
out of character. Just briefly, I believe last session, all the transporters
Completely blown out, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That would be something Thadagia would know,
Well,
I believe.
Yes.
Thadagia probably would not know that, as he's been treating the stuff in sickbay now, but Commander Locke would most assuredly know that's no longer on the table.
Oh.
Yes, Lieutenant Thadagia, I hate to inform you that one of our most recent losses on the ship functionality is the transporters. When trying to use them to beam over to the DARWIN, there was an overload of the systems, and getting them back online has been unfortunately low on our priority list currently.
I understand.
I wish more than you know that I could assign more help and resources to fixing the transporters, but
I understand.
I can't prioritize something that will save one member of the crew, even if it is the captain, when
We might not
the
need to.
entirety of the crew is at such great risk currently.
What if we use one of the shuttles? They have transporters.
I suppose they also have battery reserves of power that would not.
Well, unless we've taken the deuterium from them yet, they should all be ready to fly still. And we only need one shuttle for this.
Adagia, is this something that could be done in a shuttle's transporter?
As I'm not that versed in engineering mechanics or the dynamics, I can only say theoretically I can do it on my end. I'm going to need both James and Weber's help, in particular, given their set of skills, in order to even attempt this safely. And of course, with your blessings on this, if you will.
I will add, though, that the deuterium won't last a massive amount of time on the shuttle, not without being replenished through its nacelles. The same with us. But I mean, if we're looking at a way to get out with the Darwin, it might buy us enough time.
Is that the path you're going to have him take, Locke? Or shall he
I know that we all dearly care for the captain and would do all we can to preserve her. But I also know that for as much as the captain means to us, we mean all that to her and more. And I know the captain would rather us do everything in our power to save our ship and the Darwin's crew, even if it came at the cost of her own life.
But what if both can be done? We can't just give up on her just because there's a possibility. I mean, we all wear this uniform. We all fight. We all know what's at stake, but no one gets left behind.
Adagia certainly can work on this, and Lieutenant James, if you can put your ensign, send your ensign to help him, but I need you to work with the Darwin's crew to find a solution on how to leave. Because as we have already stated, even if we get can put her in stasis, we have a limited amount of time that we can keep her in stasis before energy runs out. So setting aside our current situation for the rest of the crew, there's still, even for the captain, a time limit. So we must balance our resources. I can't, in good conscience, put all of our resources on helping to save the captain. The best I can do is split our resources.
Okay, I'm going to have to end this scene here, as that was pretty much Locke's decision on it. So it's basically going to come down to Thaddagia working on that on his own with the support of the sickbay crew. Okay?
Oh, with the support of the engineering ensign.
She's sickbay.
Oh, she's sickbay.
Yeah, she's one of the nurses. She went to engineering to treat James when she got injured.
Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Okay, is that still good?
Yeah, and have James send one of her ensigns.
Okay.
Over to help.
Okay, and
so at least they have some engineering help.
Get some engineering help. Okay, so we'll come back to so Thaddagia, think about the process you are going to be doing to try save the captain. We'll get to that later. Okay. And Next, Lieutenant Thishran. Lieutenant Thishran, we also lost you earlier in the previous session as well. So coming back to you, I would like to know, now that Thishran definitely was caught up in exactly what was happening, but now that you know the current state of things and how there is going to be a little bit of a equipment redistribution to the Darwin. What role are you going to play in this, considering your current situation on the ship?
I think I would probably just see where someone needed help at this time, because not exactly in Locke's best graces right now. I don't think the ship particularly is the biggest fan of Shran right now. So
Definitely not.
Maybe that's putting it harshly. They all did hug him, but
there was a big hug.
Yeah, but basically, I'd be at a point like, who needs me? Do I need to be helping move some equipment around, or do I just need to be confined to quarters?
No, probably.
Really sure.
Yeah, I would say this is probably one of the all hands on deck sort of situations. So if you were going to help out, I imagine you would be helping down in engineering, or one of the engineering subsections where, of course, things would be taking place. Drake as well, before we jump into the scene, Drake as well, we already know we got some guests on the ship, and you have been wary of them from the get-go. And now the plan currently is to try getting some of the more advanced Federation technology into the Darwin that is Borg amplified and with more power to lead the way. It's their plan to begin with. So what would Drake be focused on during this?
Well, I think Drake will be mostly trying to stick close to any of the any guests on board and what they're doing. So if Lex is still here, then he'll probably be continuing to escort Lex whilst overseeing the whole assembling of the ship.
Yeah, currently Lex and Harik are still on board. They're the two who have come on board. So Lex, of course, is going to be down in engineering, and since you were guarding her there, and that is where Thishran would be going, since he is going to be helping out as well. Why don't we just all move the scene to engineering? How does that sound?
Sounds good. Drake to show off his fake engineering skills again.
There you go. Look at that. Well, this is all still going to be considered the opening scene, and that's so no momentum loss. We're still just moving directly into that. So let's move into engineering, main engineering. And are we seeing? Okay, so Thishran, you come down into engineering, and currently you have the two members of the crew. As I mentioned, you have Lex. Was she a lieutenant commander? I apologize. It's been a while. Where's Lex? Lex in here. Did anyone write that down? It is Lieutenant Commander Lex. And then there's Harik, who is still dressed in the Monster Maroons, but he does not wear any Starfleet rank or insignia. And again, Thishran, you weren't. Jeremy, you weren't there possibly when he came on screen. So it's clear looking at him, he's the same race as the people that were hunting you all before you came into this final pocket.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm coming down to help out with engineering. And that's where the panel that exploded for Lieutenant James, correct?
Yeah, that was down there.
Okay. All right, then. Because so Thishran's going to go down there, and he's usually his usual chipper self. He's not exactly talking to anybody. He does notice the guy in the classy uniform. And but Thishran's got more important things to worry about. He just wants to help out. So he's going to go back to the panel and look it over, and he detects that he needs to realign the multispatial fusion array.
Okay.
That's clearly blown out in the that's priority 1 on that. So
Okay.
he's going to get started on that.
All right, so you get started on there working, and you see that the Boolean in the monster marine, she seems, I wouldn't say barking out orders, but she's the one looking around engineering and calling out things that need to be done, saying if we're transferring this, we are definitely going to need to have a power transfer here. And she notices you working on that blown out panel as she comes around. And Drake is just a few steps behind. Maybe one eye is locked on her, one eye is locked on Harik as he's doing his own thing back there. She comes over to you and crouches down. Lieutenant, can I help you with something? What are you repairing?
The shrine just doesn't respond. He just looks at her. Just that stare.
You seem really intent on repairing this console. If you have such strong determination, we could use your attention elsewhere to help us get this mission accomplished a little bit faster. Would you be willing to lend your assistance to us here? I notice you're not an engineering officer, but we need all hands that we can get.
Is it more important than this fusion array?
If you could explain to me what the fusion array will do to assist us in getting this transfer completed quicker, then I would be able to answer that for you.
So the Shrant gets up and he straightens his uniform and he takes the tool he was using and just drops it on the floor and says, "Clearly, you know better than me. Where should I go?"
Perfect. We need you to help us disconnect some of the main drives on the deflector dish. We are not going to be removing your entire dish, but we definitely need to have as many of the amplifiers as we can get put into the Darwin.
I see.
At some point, can James come down?
She'll be there eventually. This is sort of what's been going
Okay.
on while sickbay was happening.
No problem.
All right. So we need to disconnect the deflector dish, is what you're telling me.
Just the amplifiers currently.
Okay. Don't worry, you just hand it over to the Borg as the Shrant looks over at the gentleman in the classy uniform.
Oh, we have defeated the Borg. You don't have to worry about that.
Whatever.
She turns back to you, Drake. Again, I notice quite a bit of apprehension. I have to ask you, Lieutenant, what is it with the Borg? I'm assuming that you know more than you are letting on. As far as we are aware, we are the first Federation crew to ever encounter this species, yet everyone is treating us very coldly, simply because of our encounter with the Borg. Has something happened in the Federation in the years since we went missing?
Well, as you've already mentioned, Lieutenant Commander Lex, that the Borg attempted to assimilate you and take away your individuality. As we can see here and now, you're able to communicate between yourselves as if you are one mind. And that loss of individuality, as I'm sure you can understand, is quite a disturbing thought for those who have not been assimilated. So I'm sure you can understand the apprehension.
I suppose I can see it from your point of view, beings that you have not experienced what we've experienced. I do not feel I've lost anything. I feel I have gained quite a bit of knowledge and understanding of even the crew members who I considered my closest friends before this happened. I feel I know them far better than I ever could have through a lifetime of conversation.
And indeed, that may sound like quite a good situation to be in, but that lack of walls between your minds and the lack of any secrets or any ability to maintain yourself as yourself personally does seem a little unwanted at the moment. However, you seem to enjoy the situation you are in. However, for us who have not experienced it, it's still not something we can quite grasp.
I will agree, without it having happened to us, I probably would not be able to grasp it. But look at your lieutenant here. Look at the anger he is expressing simply because of the unknown.
At which point, Drake gets a little smirk and says, I will have to apologize on the lieutenant's behalf there. This is him in a good mood. And is most likely has nothing to do with yourself.
That's a mild relief. However, if he were part of this group that we became when we were assimilated, as you say, by the Borg, there would be no need for this anger. Any of this negativity that he is feeling, we would understand completely. Any problems we have, we are able to solve silently, simultaneously, to the satisfaction of the entire crew. The pain that he is clearly under would no longer exist because he would get the support that he needed and we would understand him on the deepest level. I don't understand what this fear is about when what we have discovered here is the most efficient way of operating as a crew, and it has kept us alive and it has kept us going for decades.
I must say it is impressive that it has kept you all, well, alive for so long and functioning as you are. However, as you've just said, everything, well, the Shran is the Shran. He is who he is. He has his anger issues, as you put it. But that is who he is from the experiences he has currently had. By joining his mind to yours, although depending on how you look at it and from my individual point of view, having all of those things sorted so quickly, so efficiently through the experiences of others would negate what he has experienced himself, for it will not be his own life anymore. It will be just another memory of the crew to which you all come together, fix, and go back as if it never were. Well, these thoughts it negates him as he is now, and unfortunately, although I would like to change him myself a little bit, he is who he is.
I still don't think you understand, and I can fully appreciate how it would be so hard to understand something you've never experienced, but you're looking at this in the wrong way, and this apprehension that all of you are facing, whether or not his anger comes from our presence or it's always been there, as you have alluded to, this is slowing down such an important task for us to do. This is not just our lives, but your lives as well. We are trying to get out, and the more we are delayed, the less power we have, the less chance we have for this to succeed. We don't have time to worry about individual problems. Those problems still exist. Those problems are still solvable. But we need to move on. We can't let personal feelings get in the way, or whatever you might believe about the Borg or our crew that you have gained over the past few years that we've been gone. You have to put that aside and help us help all of us. Only working together can we succeed.
I completely agree. However, although he has a snide attitude, I do believe Tishran agreed to do as required and is intending to assist as needed. But instead of, well, unfortunately, I am not of much use here, yourself working on the issue, we are instead discussing this. No?
We are going to have a discussion with your entire crew. In fact, the captain is coming over immediately. However, any sort of outburst, such as we have here, we don't need him dropping and breaking tools when we are in the middle of a very intense operation. So if you cannot get your crew under control, we have a commanding officer here, Lieutenant, who is going to bring control to this ship as well.
At which point, Drake's little smile disappears and asks Lieutenant Commander Lex, was that a threat there, Commander?
It's called the chain of command, Lieutenant. I hope you will acknowledge it still 60 years on.
As you say.
She looks back over at Thishran, like, clearly you have trouble keeping your crew in line.
At this point, I'd like to say that with just Thishran, he's in earshot of this, correct?
He's more than an inch away, and we've already established that that puts... No, he does hear, yeah, of course.
Okay.
She shuffles a centimeter over so he can't hear you.
That's right, okay. The comment about going to bring someone to lay down the law, Thishran stops what he's doing and is looking directly at Drake and the other. Just right now, just looking.
I hope you can appreciate the seriousness of this situation, both of you.
Fully aware of the situation we're currently in, Lieutenant Commander.
I appreciate it. And if that is true, perhaps you can stop following me around like a lost Garnak and start helping us work here. I am not going to do anything untoward on your vessel.
Unfortunately, my engineering capabilities are not as high as your own. So my assistance here would be to help you where needed.
Very well, then I hope that you live up to your words. And as for you, Lieutenant, can I rely on you? She turns back to you, Thishran, or at least turns her attention to you.
Thishran does a mildly sarcastic bow. Just,
I suppose that's as good as it's going to get. Please inform your captain that Captain Badu is going to be arriving shortly.
yes, Your Highness.
Okay. We'll stop there as neither of you are engineering people and James is not quite on the way. But the call to let Lieutenant Locke know that the captain is coming soon. But before we do that, I want to check in with Weber. So Weber, you are going to be focusing on the shrine now, yes?
Actually, I was going to stop by the science station first and have another look at the message.
Okay.
And so the thought was that I might have not forgotten half the words, but well, literally half the words. So if the computer could fill out gaps to try and make sense of it, because I'm thinking if the numbers were in English, why wouldn't the words be? So maybe the computer could, look over it on that basis.
All right. So you go back into the science lab and you are working again on the message that was recorded. So you're going to
it will probably just take a few minutes to find out if there's anything to that theory. So
yeah, so you'll start running the routines on that to see if it can find anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so while you're doing that, Talar will, of course, come over to see exactly what you're doing because he has to know everything that's happening in the science lab. And he comes to your station, like, now what are you doing?
I'm really sorry. This requires my full concentration. I can't explain anything. Ask me later.
Ask you later. Should I ask it when I remember you or after I forget you exist again? How's this going to work?
Oh, is there a chance you'll forget me?
Oh, how could I ever
Then
forget
you plan
you,
on
the
forgetting
guy
me?
who comes in here and just works on his side projects instead of helping us escape certain death? Yeah, I think I could remember you.
Yeah. Well, why don't you focus on forgetting me for a while, for the time being, so I can concentrate on this task?
Oh, if only I had that luxury. Believe me, I've been trying since the first day we met. By the way, do you need help?
I try to ignore him as good as I can.
Should I do anything? Where
Oh
you
no,
going?
I'm fine, thank you.
He keeps
Do whatever
looking over
you
your
prefer.
shoulder while he's doing it. It doesn't look like anything like you're trying to help us escape here. That looks like you're. I don't even know why I'm bothering. I come here to help out this crew, and no, they start me. They start me with Alder. They start me with Alder. It makes me make coffee. It makes me make coffee for everyone. Do you know what my skills are back on Tellar? No, of course you don't, because you probably don't know what Tellar is. But I am a very trained, highly respected scientist in my field. Nothing, nothing at all. Ugh. That's just so like you. That is so like you. Always just there on your side projects, praying in your shrine. You know that's not even authorized. That's not even authorized. The captain might have told you could have a shrine, but that's not authorized. Nothing.
I ignore him.
Nothing.
Just wondering how you passed his social tests when entering the academy.
Nothing. Nothing at all. And then you get the beeps that the algorithm went through. There's no real sounds missing. It's still coming up gibberish. There's no. It's not piecing together words. It might find a sound here or there that might relate to a word, but put all together, it just comes up as a coincidence that those sounds would just every now and then strike something familiar.
Okay. Then I leave it at that, and then I'm going to say now I'm doing something highly illegal and go to the shrine. Please don't disturb me while I'm there. And yeah, so
he just
it's
looks.
just next door, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He looks like he wants to say something, but you leave him before that. And you are going to. You said you're bringing in more tools for monitoring inside there, right?
Yeah, but I mean, if the things that are installed in there were affected, so why wouldn't anything? Why wouldn't some probably everything I bring in there will be affected as well.
I think that's probably a logical conclusion.
Yeah, so I did that.
Okay.
And do I even remember what I was doing in there before I disappeared more?
Yeah, I think you were just doing the usual, like going in there. You're just checking. Well, of course, you already had these sensors and that installed there, and you are trying to see if they've picked up anything else because you've got those energy spikes occasionally while you were inside this Pocket universe. So you were just going in there more or less. I don't know if maintenance is the right word, but just your standard check to see what was going on, and then something triggered while you were in there, and the rest is forgotten history.
And for how long was it gone?
So it was, I think, again without having gone back through and gotten all the numbers correct, I think it was just a couple days. I can't say for a fact. It was again without going back and looking, but it was more than a day.
Well, isn't it a bit risky to just go in there again? And I mean,
Well,
what's happening right now.
I could say that the one thing that you or Mabrim would have known the time leading up to there was every time that you pass through another layer of the pocket would be when that energy surge was detected by the equipment down there. And so he was in there at the time. He didn't know it was going to happen, but at the time when the ship that was hunting them kind of forced them to go through the last pocket. So he was in there without knowing that the ship was about to go through another pocket.
Mm.
So he would
Maybe
coming
I'll
out.
just
He
start-
would know by now. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I'll just start with a very thorough, what's it called? A tricorder scan
Okay.
to look for any traces. I mean, probably haven't done it yet because it's just been a couple of hours, I think, since I've
Yeah. So
come out.
Tricor scan, same thing. You know, you don't need to roll for it because it will be difficulty 0. But if you would like to roll to see if you gain any bonus momentum that you could use for obtaining information, you can do that.
Yeah.
But it's your choice. Okay, so if you want to do a control and science roll with your tricorder, we could have that. Again, difficulty 0, complication range of 1.
So that was science and
Science and control. Okay. Did you roll 2 dice? I see only 1 roll on there. Don't look at it.
I think I did. Well, let me just type it in.
Okay, a 20 and a 10. Okay, 20 and 10. So 20 is a complication, and 10 I believe a 10 would pass, right? Because you're 9 and 4. Yeah, so you got 1 success and a complication. So that is one momentum added to the pool, and also you get a free bonus momentum for obtain information. So the tricorder scan itself, right now, what it picks up is there are fading traces of Verteron particles. They are deteriorating, of course, over time. It's been a few hours since you came out, but you do detect that there are traces of it inside the shrine. You could spend your bonus momentum, of course, and any other momentum to ask other questions to try to get more data, if you like.
I don't know what I could ask, actually. No, don't know what I can ask.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So clearly, whatever happened inside the shrine there, it basically led to a burst of Verteron particles inside the room itself that are still lingering.
Okay.
Okay. Then we'll leave that there as Weber continues to make the scans and just finishes up checking everything. Now, Commander Locke, real quick, we'll just say very quickly, like, you get notified that Captain Badu is going to be coming over from the Darwin, and it's requested that there be a staff meeting, so a full meeting of everyone to discuss what needs to be done for this. So any ideas that people have, and any suggestion how to break down the work We talked about it very briefly at the end of the last session, but we'll get into it at the meeting, okay? But since we're close to our midpoint break, why don't we just take the 10-minute break now, and then that way we could jump directly into the discussion and have the full senior staff at the table to share their thoughts. Is that good?
Maybe since we're a little bit early, I can ask a few questions I wanted to.
Oh, yeah.
So in regards to, I assume that there's a whole list of procedures and standards for dealing with the Borg, given the extensive history with them at this point in time. So a few things I want to double check is that, one, I assume that there is some sort of procedure or standard within Starfleet that says once a commanding officer of any rank is infected by the Borg, they are no longer a part of Starfleet.
There's nothing that says they're not part of Starfleet, but there are things that once they are assimilated, of course, they have to be treated as a Borg. Yeah.
As they're an enemy at that point. They're no longer part of the command structure. So,
in theory, yes, that would be how it works. Yeah.
Right. So, if push comes to shove, I'm going to be able to pull that on the captain if he really tries to force something that we disagree with and pull rank. Okay, I wanted to make sure of that. And then two, absolute worst case scenario, I assume that while it may not be up to the moral standards of the Enterprise, in the more general Starfleet sense, even if Starfleet members are, even if the members of the Borg used to be Starfleet, they're still enemies, and we are still legally in our right to just shoot them.
Only if they're a threat, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
But at
anyone
the end of the
that's
day, we're at war with them, and they are enemy combatants.
Basically, yeah. If they are threatening you, then yeah, they would be considered enemy, right?
I don't want it to come to that, but
well, you never know. You never know. The question is, how would Starfleet feel if the Borg you fired upon still were fully autonomous and had their own personalities and weren't actually assimilated into the Borg collective, but then you just murdered them anyhow because you thought, well, they look bad. They said the A word. That means they're enemies.
I think that the argument in court could be made that the captain felt a overwhelming danger or threat from them escaping into real space, and that being a separate and new Borg threat which tries to assimilate humanity.
Well, if you were Kirk, you could definitely get away with it because he gets away with any violation. So start reading up your Kirk biography as you walk into the room. Like, how to murder friendly alien species and still get away with it. All right. Anything else before we take our little commercial break here?
I do want to say a nice pull to Dagia on the Strange New Worlds stasis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a good idea. That's a very good idea.
I almost laughed out loud because when you said that, because I was just thinking like, okay, if no one comes up with a solution, I'm either A, going to ask Bill if that's like standard procedure, or if B, suggested. I don't know. I was thinking of ways to bring it up and be like, oh yes, a paper was sent to me that was written by the doctor of the Enterprise and Lieutenant Mbega about stasis technology for patients, But you brought it up right away, so no need for that.
Yeah, I almost forgot the words for it. Like the store his information in the thingy, the transporter. You know that. You're an engineer.
Put his picture in the shining thing. Wait, what?
Just upload the captain to Dropbox and download her again when we need her.
Is this okay? I got a little hourglass that keeps spinning around in a circle here. The captain hasn't appeared yet. Should I be worried here? Oh god. All right. Is everyone good? Can we take our break then?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sure.
So we'll come back, and then everyone is going to be gathered in the observation room to discuss exactly how everyone's going forward with this.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. See you soon. All right. Okay, and we are back from the commercial break. Lulk, you were saying?
On our way to the meeting, Lulk will have a discussion with Lieutenant Drake.
Okay.
And Lulk would, don't need to fully have the discussion, but would like to request Lieutenant Drake to, while he can, put together a protocol, two levels of protocol, in the case of the needing whether the Borg turn hostile towards us or we need to turn hostile towards them. And one of the first level of the protocol being on simply a show of force with this with the remaining security force that we have, and the second level protocol being violence.
Drake understands the command, is a little perplexed at how he's supposed to set this up on the way to the meeting where we're going to be sat there with them, but he's going to do his best. He's going to do his best.
It's not just for this meeting, it's going forward.
Okay.
But throughout all of our interactions with them, we need to be ready to, one, if push comes to shove, show a show of force, because, well, I mean, Lulk is still half Klingon, so that is always another solution. But of course, like I said, it'd be two levels. One would be to intimidate them and essentially say, like, okay, you're going to listen to us now. And then the second level of the protocol will be full on, just like eliminate the Borg until the threat is subsided. If it comes to that and it's us or them, then we're going to save our crew because we are not Borg. Or if they try too hard to assimilate us, then...
Okay, so Thug attitude as the first level, genocide the second level. Cool.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll put that in the log, shall I?
Genocide. Got it. All right. Okay. Anything else on the way there? Because, of course, all of you have been called up. Tadashi is probably a little antsy on the way up because he wants to make sure he's getting the captain's situation taken care of, and we're getting to that. So leaving her behind is probably a little worrisome for him. But anything else before?
And of course, the lieutenant commander, Lex, was more than a foot in front of us, so she couldn't hear any of that.
Yeah, a foot. My God, she might as well still be on the Darwin. I mean, at that distance, there's absolutely no way. She's just saying, "Why am I thinking genocide?" Where did I hear that recently? Okay, everyone's good.
Yep.
All right, so we come into the meeting room, and Captain Badu has transported over, because their ship even has working transporters, unlike the DEGRASSE TYSON. So he comes in, and he is seated at the far end of the table, as you can see, alongside Lieutenant Commander Lex, and the rest of your senior staff is with you. I think so, unless someone's missing, in which case they are not there. Okay, everyone good?
Yes.
Good. All right. So Captain Badu sits down, said, "I thank you all for really pulling yourselves away from, I'm sure, many important tasks that you are doing, but from what I've heard from my first officer, I feel we need to have a discussion before we move forward. There is a lot of apprehension from the crew of the DEGRASSE TYSON towards us on the Darwin. And I want to say I acknowledge, I appreciate how concerned you may be. We are definitely not in a condition that you expected coming to find us so many years on. But I have to stress how disappointed that we are. We've been waiting over 6 decades for help to arrive. And here we find it in this state-of-the-art, impressive Starfleet vessel. Something we never thought we would see again. Only to find that you do not seem to be willing to help us, even after all the effort you've gone through. I see the condition your ship is in. I see the damage you took. But now that you have found us, why? Why are you so reluctant?
Captain, I must admit that until now, we have not been entirely forthright with you. And I will say that it is not, subterfuge is not my typical approach to any situation. However, caution most certainly is. And in that caution, we have deceived you in our knowledge about the Borg.
He looks at Lex. They do like a side eye at each other. Go on.
In the time that you have been here, Starfleet has encountered the Borg in real space. In fact, we have been fighting the Borg for years and years. Far too many Starfleet have been lost to the Borg, both through destruction and assimilation. And the Borg has been one of humanity's greatest threats in recent times. So finding you here, finding more Borg here, finding you assimilated, is probably what we would consider the next worst case scenario to having found you all dead. It is not only unfortunate that we have lost, Starfleet has lost you, but also represents a threat to both us and Starfleet. So we can see that you are not the same as the Borg that we have encountered, and in our time fighting against them, we have not been able to develop the kind of technology that you were gifted. However, in many ways that makes you if not a threat, at least an unknown to both us and to Starfleet. And that is why we've been operating under the conditions that you've seen us. It is actually Starfleet policy and protocol to be as cautious as possible when interacting with Borg. I hope you will understand the position that we find ourselves in.
You could see the expression on his face, how he's understanding what you're saying. It's a bit of a mix of surprise and a little disappointment. Also, I do want to interrupt and say, of course, standard Star Trek observation lounge senior staff meeting protocol applies. Anyone can speak up at any time. You don't have to wait for anything. You're the main cast, so don't have to leave everything to Lulk when you want to chime in. Captain Badu, He nods. Well, Commander, I must say that this news would have probably served us better had you been a little more forthright when we first met. I cannot lie myself that we are aware of just how destructive the Borg have been on many other species. When they first assimilated us, before the procedure that we received to resist the assimilation kicked in, we were able to catch glimpses of the various civilizations that they have overrun, destroyed, and brought into their own fold. But as you can see, we are not cybernetic. We have those nanoprobes inside us, repairing our bodies, keeping us alive, keeping us connected to each other. But we did not become the Borg that you are probably well aware of, the kind that we encountered and destroyed to get the pieces of equipment we use to modify our vessel to get it into the state that it's in. I don't know if the condition your vessel is in is from your ongoing war with the Borg outside of this space, or, as I assumed, what you've faced once you've entered this pocket universe. If it is due to the Borg, then I must apologize myself, as I'm sure we are all unaware of how stressful this may be to those of you who are suffering from them. But if I may, Commander, as startling as it may be for you to look across and see what you consider to be Borg sitting here before you, and how it's coloring how you view this encounter, I would like to point out that, from my perspective, having a Klingon sitting in command of a Starfleet vessel after having been responsible for the death of countless loved ones of my crew, I believe we are able to look past our feelings for what your people have done to us and the Federation of our time. And I ask that you put your own prejudices and hatred aside and perhaps revert back to the older Starfleet ways, where that wasn't a driving force of this organization, where peaceful cooperation was what we represented and what we stood for. If we could do that for you, we ask that you do that for us.
It is easy for you to say that from a position of power, given the difference in the capabilities and current status of our ships. It is from our position of weakness that I had to take a cautious approach to the situation, and it is only to give us time to better assess you and who you currently are. For your description of being autonomous and saved from the Borg would not have been out of line or uncommon for a Borg deception in what we know of as the Borg, an attempt to assimilate us or easily capture our ship and technology and resources. And that is why I tried to afford my crew the time to safely designate whether you are as you say you are. And it is from that time that we have spent together that I have at least been able to extend this olive branch of truth and the show of our weakness, to be honest, in order to level with you on our current situation. We want to trust you. And it's because of this that I have been shown this honesty to you. I hope that we can move forward and work towards, put our full efforts towards escaping our current situation. And then after escaping, hopefully the technology you have found will be of great use to Starfleet.
Captain Badu nods. That is our hope as well, and I'm pleased to hear that, Commander. I truly hope that you and your crew will be willing to help us help each other. And I would like to point out that we never saw you and the DEGRASSE TYSON from the point of view that you are the weak ones. You are Starfleet. You are part of us. We are only as strong as each other. If you could stop viewing us as an enemy, we can help each other. You have the advanced current technology that is developed by Starfleet that can assist our systems that have the power given by the Borg. We just don't have the means of utilizing it the way that your technology could. Together we can get out, and hopefully, as you said, whatever we bring with us, we can use to better the Federation.
Captain, looking towards Captain Babadook.
Babadook, yeah. He looks at you.
Captain, what I'm hoping to do, what I would like to do, as Chief Engineer, I'm reluctant to give away part of our deflector dish. Now, I'm not saying no, clearly. That's Commander's decision in the end. What I would like to do, however, if it's possible, is upgrade your systems. That way, both ships have a better chance of surviving our escape. I come from a background. I've spent most of my life at Utopia Planitia. It's Starfleet's, one of Starfleet's primary shipbuilding facilities now. I know a lot about building ships. If there's a chance of upgrading your systems to be comparable with ours, can we give that a chance before we cannibalize one ship for the other?
If you can find a proper way of doing this, and quickly, by all means.
I would probably need to... I haven't had a chance to look at the specs, the design plans and layout of your ship. I have been indisposed recently. But if I would be permitted to board your ship and look at your systems from engineering all the way to your deflector dish, I may be able to make modifications and upgrade what is needed.
Then shall we start on that immediately?
Captain, I have a question. If I may. As the shrine looks to Captain Badu. So,
Yes. He turns to look in your direction.
could you assimilate us?
Are
Do
you
you have the ability to assimilate us?
the ability to assimilate you to our version of what you call the collective, yes, if you request that, we would be able to do that.
Would you be willing to give that up?
To give up what?
The ability to do that.
It's been our source of survival all these years, but if we get out, I don't think we would have any need for it. I still think the Federation scientists should be studying the benefits that we've experienced, but it's...
I'm not trying to be hostile, Captain. A lot of the Federation is not going to take too kindly to Borg. Whether
I can tell.
you're totally Borg or just pretending to be Borg. If you're willing to give that up, that might be something that would help ease tensions between the two crews.
There'd be absolutely no way for us to do this here with the resources we have.
The train looks to Thadaja. Doctor, do you think you could come up with a way of doing that?
Oh, it is possible. I have studied some of Borg, what little we know of Borg technology and genetics. It is possible, since you're already operating as an isolated collective in and of itself, to further replicate that in its own way, to induce perhaps an even further sense of sovereign agency to each individual. It may not exactly go back to normal, but it won't quite be in the current state that they are now. You would have certainly a great deal of your own sovereignty, agency of thought and mind, and be able to operate as what one might call a human state, if that is preferred. However, as I said, I am only marginally familiar with the operations of Borg science and technology. We have to do some more research into it.
I understand.
I'm unsure about the ramifications it might cause psychologically.
Now, I'm not trying to be insensitive either. I just wanted to put this on the table. Captain, when you come back, you're not going to have a lot of friends. I'm just being honest with you. But asking you to give up your ability to assimilate, it's almost like asking to give up what you are. It's like asking Locke over here to give up being a Klingon. You understand?
I think I understand what you're getting at, Lieutenant, yes.
Good. Good. I just want to just ensure a peaceful solution here.
Well, I don't know what will happen if we are disconnected from each other after such a long time. It may indeed be psychologically traumatic, as your doctor is referring to. However, if we get back, if we get out of this, if we survive, there's still family for us left out there. My granddaughter might still be alive today, and I have the chance to reconnect with her and make a new bond to help me recover from this. We might not have each other anymore, but we will not need that collective to survive as we've had up until now.
That's possible. So, I feel that that would be a reasonable olive branch to extend to us to ensure that we just have to ensure our safety.
Oh,
Safety of the Federation.
if your doctor with his medical technology can look into it and try to find a way, please get started on that, but we need to move on this project.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be in good hands, right, Doc? As he slaps Natasha on the shoulder.
I will do my best.
Commander Lulk just kind of cocks his head and looks at Lieutenant Strawn and thinks to himself, like, wow, the ensign was right. That hug really did work.
I have to start hugging more people on this ship. If
Log's just going to start walking around and hugging people now.
Man, did you hear Locke got thrown out for sexual harassment on the DEGRASSE TYSON? Yes, the position's up now.
It was a huge scandal. It's horrible.
Huge.
Anyone else have something to chime in on the meeting? Okay.
Nope.
All right. Well, then it looks like the courses that were being put out is Thadasia, in addition to trying to get the captain into stasis, you now have to start seeing if it's possible to de-assimilate the crew of the USS Darwin. Lieutenant James is going to be allowed to go over, at least by Captain Badu, it's up to Locke, to the Darwin to start scanning that. And then if that's all good to go, there will be the prep work to get whatever needs to be done, whether it's her plan or if it's the original plan.
I'd like to request to go with Lieutenant James, just to assist her. She may need my help.
Before Captain, Commander Lulk, of course, gives you leave to attend Lieutenant James on the, I guess it's not an away mission, but yeah, going over to the other ship.
Mm-hmm.
And then before, as the meeting is winding down, I ask the other captain and the doctor to stay behind to discuss with the two of them something.
Captain Badu and Thadasia.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So can we jump into that right now?
Yeah, just want to make sure nobody else wanted to chime in with something they want to do immediately. Okay. All right, if that's the case, then all right, then everyone ushers out to do their thing, and then Lulk, you keep those two behind. So you just want Thadasia and Captain Badu, right? Okay.
Captain, as I previously said, we are showing you our hand, as it may be. And one other detail of our current situation that I have yet to share is that, as you may have noticed, I am not a captain, and I'm only acting captain of this ship. As I was not long ago the XO of this ship, and our captain, she has a medical condition which, given our lack of resources and current state of the ship, we have not been able to maintain that condition. And she is currently, she has seen much better days, and we worry how many days she has left. Before this meeting, our ship's doctor, Lieutenant Thadasia here, has been looking at means in which we might extend her ability to wait for our ships to regain the resources that are required to maintain her condition. At this point, I would like to ask if your ship could provide the resources necessary to, at a minimum, put her into a state of stasis. If not, produce some of the medication that is required to maintain her medical condition. If you could provide Lieutenant Thadagia with whatever he might require to help maintain her, then he could then spend more time helping to work on this solution that we previously discussed.
Captain Badu will look to Thadagia. How serious is your captain's situation, Doctor?
Very serious. She doesn't have much time left unless we can administer proper medical procedure, which we are currently, given our current situation, is hard to come by.
If
we do have plan to place her into stasis, but as Commander Wilk has stated, it's going to require a bit more extra, which we do not currently have at the moment.
I see. Would you mind if I took a look at her medical file to see exactly what we might be able to do?
We're going to look at Commander Locke.
Of course. Lieutenant Field, please transmit the necessary files to the captain.
Okay, I'll look over her condition, and if there's anything that we have on our vessel that might be able to help, then of course you will have full access to it, Doctor.
Okay.
And Captain, please excuse my forwardness on this, but I must come out and say it directly from the onset that assimilation, even if it is the only option to save her life, will not be a choice. It is not, given our history, I cannot, in good conscience, force one of our crew, captain or ensign, to assimilate without their own consent. And given her current state, she, of course, cannot consent to this.
Understood, Commander. I will definitely keep that in mind and assure you that that will not be the course that we take, even if, unfortunately, it means we cannot help.
Thank you for your understanding, Captain.
I will return to my ship and I will get back to you with information of anything we could do for you. In the meantime, please continue with the preparations, and hopefully we will have a course of action from your chief engineer soon enough.
Will do, Captain.
Right, scene end, scene over. We good? All right. Then, to get into the things that need to be done right now. So, James, you are going over to the Darwin, yes? And the Shran is going with you, yes? Okay.
Yep.
So then James and the Shran. Let's see. Weber, I know you are doing your shrine scan, but also, as the science officer, would need you to do basically the scan on the DEGRASSE TYSON side of things too. You could do either as your own action to create maybe like an advantage to make it easier for James's action on the Darwin, or if you just want to both combine your actions, as in you're coordinating together, and do just an assist, that's your choice. The two of you could talk about that when it comes time to do that roll. So you'll have that in addition to your own separate monitoring what's going on with the shrine.
I think the shrine action is over, actually, isn't it?
Oh
It's
yeah,
just-
you're just doing that, but I thought that Locke wants you to keep an eye on it in case there's something that you could obtain. Like right now, there's nothing going on there, but
Yeah.
without knowing like when it's going to trigger again.
hmm
So would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Do you want to do a separate role, as in you're performing the DEGRASSE TYSON side, in the attempt to make an advantage for James's analysis on the Darwin, or would you just rather roll
Yeah, I think that's...
assist? Okay, you want to do that?
No, yeah.
Okay. Then with scan Tyson. Okay. Yeah, Fishran, you'll be going over to there, so we got that. Thadagia, you have a bit of a tricky situation here because the captain's situation is on its own, it's pretty bad. So you're waiting to hear from the Darwin, but also at the same time, if you don't do something soon, it's just going to get worse. And on top of that, you are tasked with finding a way to de-assimilate a new strain of Borg. So what is your priority here?
Well, I'm gonna keep, of course, keep a close eye on the captain's progress, sort of state of health. I think I am going to direct most of my focus right now towards the de-assimilation process. Because
Okay.
right now, there's not much that I can really do for the captain. So it's sort of a waiting period, nervous waiting period. I'm gonna have to direct some of that energy towards helping the other crew.
Okay. Then do that in a second. Okay, and then Drake. Drake, as the security guy, with all this stuff floating around here, you are chief of security. What is your main concern during all this?
The Borg changing their minding and assimilating us all.
Aside from that.
Aside from that, well, I mean, Locke did give me the little protocol mission to work on, so I guess I'd work on that in the spare time, but mostly just monitoring the situation, who's gone where and doing what, making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing, but generally there's not much you can do to assist right now.
Okay. Then, you'll just be kind of lurking in the distance and preparing your security team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then let's go first to while Thishran and James are beaming over there, Weber is going to do his own analysis of all the critical components on the DEGRASSE TYSON that are necessary for the kind of action that the Darwin wants to do. So looking here, what would
Bill?
Yeah.
Sorry if I can cut in for a
Please
second.
do, please do.
What Lulk is doing while everyone is doing their things,
Yeah.
is he's putting together a fail-safe message in the DEGRASSE TYSON.
Okay.
That is a package of all the information we have so far on the Darwin's crew, and a note about what has happened, and a warning to Starfleet that they are Borg, and that if this message is being sent out, then they have shown their true colors, and to not believe them with any flags of peace they might be waving.
Okay.
And then to have the set up a instruction in the computer to have this transmitted outward if the conditions met being, one, we're back in real space, and two, if any of our crew become assimilated, then this package is ready to be sent out as just a worst case scenario fail safe to try and, because like I said, Lulk is extremely concerned about Starfleet as a whole.
Yeah.
And while he wants to trust this group, he can't 100%.
Makes sense. Okay, so he'll be programming that in the meantime, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
That also just gave Drake an idea of when Weber's finished his scans of the Darwin, Drake is also going to be looking over it from a tactical point of view as well.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Where is Drake's? Ah, there it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so going to Weber's analysis first. So just scanning the ship, scanning the necessary parts on the exterior. That would be a science plus reason or insight, I guess, would help with either of those.
Reason would be better.
Reason would be better. This can be assisted. I know we're missing a lot of crew members today, but this can be assisted if anyone would like to, or roll for the, what's it called? DEGRASSE TYSON with the sensors. Now, this is also, remember, you're scanning with all the board technology and things like that. So it's a little bit more difficult. It's probably going to be much more difficult for James on the inside as well. But it's going to be difficulty 3 and a complication range of 2.
Mhm.
So somebody can
I
roll
can roll for the ship, by the way. Yeah.
But are you going to buy anything
Yeah.
to assist with that?
What's Spirit of Discovery again? The talent? Do you...
Spirit of Discovery. I think that was. Oh, I might be getting confused with another one. I think it's one where you succeed with a previous task, and then it makes it easier. I could be mixing it up with another one. There is. Where's the sheet? There it is. Let's see. Spirit Discovery. Oh no, that one is. Yeah, I was wrong. Completely wrong. That's the one where you spend your point of determination to add 3 momentum into the pool.
Okay. How much momentum do we have?
Right now, 2.
Oh, okay.
But you also have bold science, and that triggers off of threat rather than momentum anyhow. And you already used that point of determination earlier, did you not? At the beginning of the session. Yeah, I see that you did.
I did? Okay.
You challenged a value and you got a second point of determination, but it looks like you used 2 other values as well. So you're full of value. We'll call you max value from now on.
Okay, so complication range is 2.
Complication range is 2. Difficulty is 3. So let me know if there's anything else you're buying.
I think I'll spend 1 momentum.
Okay.
And yeah, let's go with that.
Okay, 1 momentum. So you get to roll 3 dice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, wasn't anyone going to assist me?
Going to use the ship to assist, I think. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's see, what did we get? 3 successes in a row on, is that right? On Weber, that is good. It was a difficulty of 3 and you hit it all by yourself. But the Darwin unfortunately rolled a complication. Which, for now, since there's so many prawns there, I'm just going to bank as 2 extra threat if you don't mind. You also get your untapped potential. Here's something I think I overlooked with untapped potential. The the momentum you gain, if you gain any from untapped potential, it's bonus momentum. It's not just regular momentum, which is odd because that means you have to spend it immediately. It doesn't go into the pool. But yeah, you get that roll anyhow, so you could do that. 1d6, please.
Oh, sorry.
Did you find it on the what's it called? Oh God, I forgot what it's called. Oh, there it is. 3, a 3 is a nothing. A 3 is a nothing. So no change in that. Okay, so the complication stands, but you did get your advantage on the next step of the scanning. So you're running all of your scans and you're getting all the data and you're sending that directly to James's tricorder. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
On the Darwin, was that something you were saying, Julian?
I was saying all right.
Oh, okay, sorry. On the Darwin, Thishran, and James, you beam over, and I think James would probably start getting to work. But Thishran, what are you going to be doing on the ship?
I'm going to be staying with Lieutenant James. Thishran is just really uneasy about the whole situation. He continues not to trust these Borg here. So he's going to stand very close with Megan James and offer help. You need
That's
help
not
with
going to
anything?
make her nervous or anything.
Yeah. Why are you nervous? Isn't this what you do?
You're hovering.
Hovering. Okay. Thishran just takes 3 steps back, throwing his hands up.
Okay, I'll switch over to the map in a second. I just have to. Oh, I keep clicking the wrong place. There we go. Okay. Oh, I didn't. I'm not showing anyone, so nobody can see the ship. That makes sense. Okay, so you're hovering around her then, as she's running her scan. And while she's doing scan, in the back of the bridge, a Cation crew member of the Darwin enters and approaches the two of you. Welcome aboard the Darwin, or welcome back to the Darwin, she says, looking at Thishran. Is there anything I can do to assist you?
Thishran freezes and says absolutely nothing. He looks as if he's seen a ghost.
Nothing as yet. I just need to start my scans and see what we can do. As I mentioned to your captain, I wasn't able to as yet get the layout of the ship. Perhaps if you could direct us to main deflector.
Of course, please, follow me. She takes another look at Thishran. Are you feeling well, Lieutenant?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you.
We've had some ordeals in here. It's taking its toll on all of us.
I see, yes, this can be quite a dangerous place, but fortunately it sounds like we're going to be on our way out soon.
I do hope so.
Okay, so she'll start leading you through the vessel towards deflector controls as you're running your scans. So we might as well just jump into the scan. Weber was able to provide you a lot of readings with the exterior of the vessel from scanning with the DEGRASSE TYSON, so you got that advantage on you. I just have to find what your role is. This is going to be another science plus reason. And Thishran, if you want to assist as well, you could assist with something which would be probably insight, science and insight for reading the material coming through, or if you have
Okay.
another suggestion.
No, that sounds about right. Insight and science. I can agree with that.
Okay.
I have a quick question for you.
Sure.
Actually, probably not at this point.
Okay.
I was going to ask about values, using values, but I don't think it would actually work at this particular point.
Oh, okay. Whenever you want to ask.
Because I was going to use nothing is beyond repair, but I don't. It's not really technically broken. It's just we're trying to upgrade it. So I don't know if that's a sort of
maybe
really grey area, isn't it?
Maybe the next situation, like right now you're just doing the prep stuff. Maybe when it comes to actually doing the actual physical work of getting the ship to do what you want, then the value would apply very clearly, right?
All right. So complication range
3 on this.
3. Difficulty 3 as well.
Difficulty 3 now, yes. It
Right.
was
and
more
we have
difficult
one
than
momentum.
yeah, it was more difficult than Weber's, but his advantage knocked it down to 3 for you.
And we only have 1 momentum.
Only 1 momentum left, but yeah, there's a whole slew of threat you could gain if you so want.
Can we please? I will spend that momentum, please.
Okay.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm just having a look through my talents as well. And focuses quickly. Could I use structural engineering?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. That works.
Cool. All right. Let's go. Awesome.
Okay,
so on my, oh yeah, plenty there. So you got 2 extra momentum back, and Fishran is going to roll his assist.
Okay, so my assist is only 1 die, right?
Yes.
Okay. Complication range 3 still.
Yes. And nothing extra added there, but that's okay. We definitely got enough.
He's not an engineer.
No, but he was giving his insight anyhow. Okay, so you're both going through the ship, and you're trying to assist her with that, but James seems to be on point, able to figure things out on her own. The Cation seems to be really concerned about you, and she keeps looking over at you, Thishran, as you're going throughout the ship. And I think you've probably been making multiple glances in her direction as well.
I have, but I continue to try to think how I describe this. Trying to almost be cold toward her, but
how would she know?
Tron is clearly in blue. But the Shran is clearly rattled by her presence.
She seems to be picking up on that. That's why she keeps looking back at you.
Yes. He continues to not really say anything. He's just following. No, he will speak. How much longer until we get where we're going? Please.
Do you require rest? Is there something wrong? You do look
no,
particularly.
I just need just how much further is it, please?
Oh, not much further. We just need to get down into the deflector control. We're almost there.
Thank you. Just hurry up. I'd just like to get home.
As would we all, Lieutenant, as would we all. She gets down into basically the small Jeffries tube area of engineering and motions for the two of you to go inside.
Yep.
Sharon's going to step inside the Jeffries tube ahead of James. And
yeah, he just pushes past you and goes in.
Yes. All right. So we're going to upgrade this thing, right, James? Is that what we're here to do? I'm going to attempt to use.
We can upgrade this thing.
Well, I think I already know how. Okay, just he climbs into the ladder, attempting to use the value. Why ask when you know the answer? Because clearly, what we need to do is decouple the proton shift assembly that is right next to the harmonic resonance modulator.
Oh, sure, if you want to blow the whole deflector dish.
It wouldn't do that because why would it do that?
Sorry, I'm confused here. Which one of us is the engineer?
Clearly, listen. All we have to do is resynchronize the magnetic sensor infuser. Then we can decouple
I pull him
the
out of the
proton
Jeffrey
shift
tube
assembly.
and go in first.
Okay. Just can we get started, please?
Look, leave the engineering to me. I'll get it done.
I'm not coming down
as quickly as I can.
Don't need to go back down there right now, please.
Well, she pulled you out of the Jeffries
what?
tube, so you're right next to the Cation
stops.
now.
Lieutenant James stops and looks back at Thorshorn and, do you need a hug?
No, oh God.
She quickly continues down the Jeffries tube.
Just get up there and fix the thing, okay? And the Shrine looks at the Cation and looks away.
She seems to know what she's doing.
I'm sure she's quite capable.
Would you care for any refreshments?
No, thank you. Honestly, with all due respect, Lieutenant, privacy would be nice.
I yell out from down the Jeffries tube. He likes hugs.
No, he does not. But some privacy would be nice, please.
She's looking back at the tube and then back at you, and finally she nods, and you just hear her purring softly off in the side of you.
Yes, the thread's visibly shaking right now.
And it's very noticeable. So it's going to take maybe about an hour or two, or just a little over an hour, I should say, to complete your scans now that you got all the things from Lieutenant Weber. But James, you think, you would be able, without actually replacing or giving up major portions of the deflector dish, your scans seem pretty clear that you would be able to upgrade the systems. You would, of course, have to give up some equipment on the DEGRASSE TYSON because there's just no other way to do it. But it won't be as extensive as what the Darwin was originally asking for.
All right. I'm assuming the Cation didn't follow down the Jeffrey's tube with me.
No.
I hope not.
All right. I sort of yell back to the Cation. Actually, no, I'll crawl back out to engineering. Right. Did you want to let your captain know we can do the upgrade? Sorry, what was your name?
Lieutenant Cecile.
Apologies, I didn't ask before.
That's okay.
Um,
I apologize. I was already aware of your name, so I find that I have a lack of manners of my own by not asking.
Clearly, like I said, we're all a bit, in a way, with everything going on. We've barely only survived to here, so you know. If you're able to let the captain know, we can do an upgrade. I will need some things from the DEGRASSE TYSON, but we should be able to have your deflector dish up and running as required without removing ours.
That's wonderful news. The captain is also elated.
I whisper to Thrawn and just go, "That's kind of creepy."
Huh? What? What's creepy?
Never mind. I'll talk to you later. All right. Our transport.
Are
is
you
broken,
done yet?
So...
Are you finished? Can we?
Look. All right. I give you a data pad of things we need. Look, why don't you go back to the DEGRASSE TYSON? This is what I need. Get those, and meet me back here.
Yeah.
And let the commander know what's happening.
I'll do that. Fitron looks to the Cation and he taps his communicator, says DEGRASSE TYSON 1 to beam back.
The Cation looks at you and gives a nod. Allow me, and then you start to beam away. Okay, so he's heading back to the TYSON. I want to go quickly, so just jumping from that scene there, we have to go into sickbay immediately. So, Tadajia, you still there, my friend?
Yes.
All right, so you are trying to work on the de-assimilation. So this is going to take some time. You have to first you have to really understand the what kind of org you're dealing with. So fortunately, Harik, I believe was his name, will be there assisting you as you run the scans. And no, he is not in that scene. Let me get him for you. So he's in sickbay with you, and you're going to have to scan him first. This is going to be an extended task, so it's going to take quite some time to get through. But we'll start it here. But it is the... God, there's so many rooms here. Just getting lost. All right, found it. So it is the crew member from the hunter species who is not wearing any rank. He is with you in sickbay. Okay, that's weird. There we go, that worked. That's weird. I was trying to put him in there, and instead, like, my screen, it's doing it again. What is happening here? Like, I'm trying to move a character, and I grab the character, but instead of the character moving, it's like I'm moving the entire room around them. I don't know how else to explain how weird that is. Like, I'm clicking on them, but instead of me moving them there, it's throwing the room to a different direction, which was not what I was intending to do. So he shows up, and he said, I hear you are looking to remove the Borg nanoprobes.
Correct.
Well,
I assume you're here to assist.
Yes, I'm here to help in whatever way I can. If you need to run scans on me and determine exactly what's wrong.
Well, what exactly do you know of this? Well, as far as your interconnectivity with
Well,
the other group.
Oh, the crew of the Darwin, well, they found me when, unfortunately, I have to say that my former crew members were hunting them, trying to take their fuel for our own survival, but they fought us off, and I was the only survivor, and they brought me into their own group via these nanoprobes they got from the Borg, and repaired my body, and I soon came to understand exactly what the crew of the Darwin was about, and I am now a member of said crew.
Interesting. What's the nature of your connection as far as your technology on the ship? Are you integrated? Is it integrated with you?
We are wired throughout the ship as where all of these nanoprobes are. We maintain a connection that we can feel, we can sense at all times. It's very different from anything I've experienced before. Do you think you can safely remove them?
I cannot give you a guarantee, but we're working on it. I'm working on it. Any information that you can volunteer would greatly help us.
I will do what I can, Doctor. If it, as long as it doesn't revert what benefits the nanoprobes have provided in keeping me alive, then I'm all for it. Gene, if you want to start the first step of the scan, we could do that. Is that okay?
Yes.
Do you have access to your roll 20?
I do, yes.
Okay, then that's you're just scanning them, so it is going to be the usual control and medicine. And actually, if somebody would like to roll for a ship, he is using the med bay, so basically could count as. Well, actually, you know what? With med bay, it would count more as an advantage right now, so don't need an assist on that. So just control and medicine. This is going to be difficulty of 2, but with the advantage, difficulty of 1. Okay, let's see what you got. One in. Oh, so yeah, you got 1 extra, and you got 1 momentum on top of that. As this is again an extended task, not extended challenge, you'll also roll the dice to try to get a breakthrough, kind of like you're doing damage. So it's 2 plus your medicine skill, so that's 6 dice. Six-sided dice, that is, I should say. Okay. It says rolling 0 dice, so try that again. Make sure.
Let me try that.
Yeah. Still says rolling 0 dice. That's odd.
As they come through.
No, it said rolling 0 dice again. Hang on. Let me open up your character sheet and see what. Yeah, you have the 6 in there. Try it one more time. It's already loaded.
Let's try this.
Oh, there we go. Wow. You got 4 effects. Okay, so For effects, they count as 4 successes. You could spend 1 point of momentum to re-roll those 2 zeros if you want to, because another success might earn you 1 breakthrough of this. But also, the 4 successes are still going to come down from the work track, so it's your choice either way.
Yeah, we can do that.
You want to re-roll? Or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 1 momentum, and just roll 2 dice. 2 d6s. And there you go. You got 1 more success on there, so that is 5. That does count as a breakthrough. That brings the work track down, and it got you 1 breakthrough so far, so that is a good thing. So your scans, you are encouraged by what you see, because the fact they are not like completely assimilated. Yes, their bodies are full of these Borg nanoprobes, but they're not fully assimilated like the Borg are. So you are confident that if you can find the right treatment, you would be able to either neutralize the probes and basically remove the assimilation from the inside, or you might be able to find a way to extract them.
Okay. Well, this looks promising. It is possible that we may be able to either extract or neutralize these probes. That's an interesting development. I haven't really researched too much into your technology, or rather Borg technology, but this does look promising.
That is definitely an encouraging sound. Can it be done safely?
That is another question. That is a good question, but I believe we can do this safely with very minimal damage, if at all, to the crew.
Then let us hope that the rest of your procedures go just as well as this one. Okay, let me just go down to the list here real quick. Just take a look at that. Let me do that. That will be a good thing. All right. So the next thing we are going to have to do now, already Captain Badu was already contacted that it is possible, and he, and of course, I'm sure James also did the same thing. Plus, the Shran heading back to the ship. Lulk, you are made aware of exactly what's going on, so it is possible. It's time to get the crew organized. If you're able to do that, it's going to make the actual task itself less difficult. As I said at the end of the last session, I don't know if it was on camera or off, doing like massive changes like that, it's a huge difficulty task. Now that we found a method of doing it, going with Lieutenant James's way of upgrading, now these little preparatory tasks, which are hard on their own, every one you succeed at is going to make the actual true task easier to accomplish, almost like they're giving you advantages on it.
All right. Well, of course, we have Lieutenant James spearheading it. And Lieutenant Tadagia is working on his project. So we'll have Lieutenant Deshron. Lieutenant James can assign Lieutenant Deshron to a subtask within it.
Okay.
Lulk does not notice or know of any friction that might be happening between the two, and just saw the lieutenant's initial motivation to go and work with Lieutenant James, and takes that as, oh, he must be friendly with Lieutenant James, so we'll keep assigning them together.
They're best friends.
Yeah. And Lieutenant Drake will be assigned to, again, helping in any way that engineering or science can place him, any way they can use him. and given the more subtle order to, of course, keep an eye on everything, but that possibly the crisis or security level can be lowered a little bit, as it seems things are going very well. And then Lieutenant Weber is given the permission to either continue his work on the message, whether that be through the computers working on the message he already has, or continuing to investigate the shrine in an attempt to re-enter the state he was previously in. And he is given discretion to choose what he sees fit as the most helpful to the ship, as Commander Locke does not really understand what has been happening with him and assumes that Weber would be better at making this decision than he is as to what would be most helpful. He puts his trust in Lieutenant Weber. And then I guess for our two crewmates that are not here, Alder is put on, is moved entirely to the project with James to try and upgrade the DARWIN and make our ship as ready for the jump or the attempt to leave as possible. And the previous project of disabling the Borg is to be put on hold. And then Krell, of course, is working on the project also.
Try not to destroy things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we got those two on there. So you know what we could actually do, since we have Alder and Krell into the mix and they're not actually here, I think just using their presence more or less like advantages would be best, right?
Yeah, and actually, I'll also assign the Ensign Lieutenant to go over to the other ship and to try and learn as much as she can as far as like psychological profile of the crew members over there.
Okay. So she'll go over. James is staying over on the DARWIN, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, she has so far. She hasn't come back.
Okay. So James, Alder, and Lieutenant would be on DARWIN. Okay. Got it.
As a side thing,
Mm-hmm.
I would also like to be scanning things like their Borg. I don't want to say implants because it's not really implants on the ship, but the Borg components on the ship.
Okay.
And how they've got their deflector dish set up so that if they, not that I think they will, but if they do scarper and leave us alone, we at least have the settings, configurations and whatnot of the ship before it left.
Okay. Makes sense. All right.
My primary task, though, is fixing their deflector dish. I don't think they're going to leave us in the dark, but it's that sort of backup plan.
Okay. Sounds good. I have
also,
a note there. Yes, sir.
Sent what is essentially a short, brief text message to Commander Locke's personal pad that informing him of basically our progress or our news, what we find out. But I've also taken measures to implement basically a fail-safe should our conditions deteriorate and conditions turn, I guess, against our favor. You know, it looks like it's heading south. I've taken also measures to implement a sort of fail-safe, you know, to be implemented just in case that looks like it's gonna affect us negatively, you know, and possibly spread outside of our control.
What would you like the failsafe to do?
It's just basically a modified version of maybe a computer virus of sorts. It basically would cause a blackout. It wouldn't damage them or kill them, but it would black them out. You know.
Oh, I see. I see.
Sure. You know.
Okay. Yeah, that's something that I think Alder was trying to attempt to do the first time. Something similar to that, to try to, for a second. He wasn't able to do it, so that would be something that, because he couldn't do it, you would have to do like another roll to try see if you're successful. But you might have more chance of succeeding at that when you create the failsafe. Now that you got like really detailed scans going into what these nanoprobes do. So let me just mark that down as something you could be working on, okay? All right. Okay, hang on a second. Okay, so let me just see, am I on the right page here? All right, got that. Okay, what we're going to do right now then with all that, you know, I could just, you don't need that part because that would be something I would leave to other character. Instead right now, Thadagia, back to you, the information back from the Darwin about Captain Savek is there's, of course, they don't have the specialized medicine needed to treat her. They said they're willing to accept her and put her into stasis in their sick bay, but you would have to send her to their ship. They said that they understand you were going to attempt to use a transporter to put her into stasis, and they said that that's, of course, as you know, would be extremely tricky, extremely dangerous, and if there's any kind of surge or power goes out, then her pattern's lost and she's gone anyhow. So the word is that, of course, no assimilation, as that's off the table, but they could put her basically in, not cryostasis, but a similar enough thing to lock her down. Hopefully she would be in that condition by the time you get back into real space.
Okay. I also send that information over to Commander Loke as well through the pad, just so he has an update on what's going on down here.
So are you going to send her there or not? You'll have to decide now.
As much as I dislike the idea of our captain being on another ship, let alone a Borg ship, I see more and more the difficulties and stresses that our captain has been under in making difficult decisions, balancing risk, and trying to value all crew members' lives equally when making decisions. And in that, I must make a choice that I would never have wanted to make. And that is the best and most likely outcome for the entire crew, both the captain and everyone else's survival, which means sending the captain to their ship. That will reserve our resources as much as possible, expedite the chances of escape from this area, while only increasing the risk on the captain's life minorly. And if the crew of the Darwin really are our allies, then it actually will increase her chance of survival greatly. So I do authorize sending the captain over, Lieutenant.
Yes.
Okay.
So-
I'm sorry, what's that, Gene?
No, I will consent.
All right, so as soon as you tell Harik in sickbay that it is good to go, he automatically gets the message to the Darwin, and they will directly beam the captain from sickbay straight to their ship. So she is out. Okay, so the captain is also on the Darwin, so let me put that on the note. Okay, so let's go into basically, since everything is already put into place, and we are now going with Lieutenant James' idea for the upgrade rather than the Darwin's plan for the technology swap. We're pretty much in the position where we could go through the roll. Now, this is a pretty big roll. This is a pretty massive roll here, difficulty-wise. So it is a whole engineering type of endeavor, but it can be supported by lock, presence, and command. You could support with this one as well because you're trying to organize things on your side. There's also other aspects that could help with support too. So like Lieutenant Weber with your science, and that science definitely is part of this. That could play a support. And if anyone has any other argument of why they could lend support, I'd be willing to listen to one more. Does anyone else want to assist in the role?
Oh, the Lulk is not actually going to be assisting. He's too busy moving his stuff into the captain's quarters.
Yeah. He's like, comms are off. Yeah. Already taking down her artwork. Okay, but the bulk of it will fall upon Lieutenant James as the engineer that's on board the Darwin doing that. Also, I do want to ask, though, before we get into the role, just real quick, Thishran, when Thishran returned to the DEGRASSE TYSON, what did he do since he got out of there in a hurry?
He collected himself and then went and collected all the things that was on James's list. Then radioed the log, kind of updated him on the situation, what's going on the Darwin.
Okay.
And how he is going to transport back to the Darwin.
Okay, so he wants to go back?
Supplies.
Okay. So then I will...
Actually, I may... yeah, he's going to go back. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll have Thishran heading back to the Darwin during this whole process. Okay. If everyone's ready, we could just jump right into the roll. Now, this is going to be assisted by, again, Lulk. You're going to do command on the DEGRASSE TYSON. Lieutenant Weber, you could probably monitor the science side of it to make sure everything is being done properly, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the main role would... I'm sorry?
I'm supporting with science, right?
You would be supporting with science, yeah, on your side.
Yeah.
Just the one die. James, you would... Oh, I hear rolls going off already. Okay, there we go. James, you are... It's going to be difficulty 6, and it has a critical rating of... No, not critical rating. Dang, CR. Complication range in this game. It's a complication range of 4. So difficulty 6, complication range of 4. It is, as you can imagine, extremely difficult. So any kind of resources you are using as well, plus, of course, Lulk and Drake, is there anything you want to add into this that you can think of?
I was thinking of assisting Weber if he was doing a role, but as he's performing an assisting role, yeah.
Can't assist his assist, yeah.
Yes. So no, I'm good. I think
Okay.
not much I can do.
All right. I'll get back to your whole protocol thing later, but for now, yeah. God, I'm going to say Drake again. That's not a person. James, you're doing the main role, and Locke would be doing a presence and command if he's okay with that. So, James, for your role, of course, this is you're the one spearheading it. So, control and engineering, and any other thing you could do to make it successful for you.
How many momentum do we have?
Right now, 2.
All right. Now, is this? We talked about using the values before.
Yes.
I am sorry, but I haven't really looked up how
That's
to
fine.
use values yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've been meaning to, but I have been slack. So nothing beyond repair. Can I use that? And how do we use them?
Okay, so you're basically you would say that you're using a value for the roll, as you did right now, and then you choose how you want that value to work. In a situation like this, I think the way we use it the most would be to gain it's basically you buy your first bonus die with that point of determination you use, and it's automatically rolling a 1, so you don't actually have to roll this die. It counts as it's already rolled. It hit a 1, so you get 2 successes on it. So you start your roll with 2 successes already. But the thing to keep in mind is it also counts that you bought the die even though you didn't roll it. So if you buy an extra die, it costs 2 momentum for that next one because the first one was already purchased by determination. Okay? That's the most common way.
Correct?
Yeah, that uses your determination if that
All right.
is the course you're doing. Yes? Let's see.
Yes, please.
Okay, let's see. James.
And if everyone's okay with it, I'd like to use the other 2 momentum to buy a dice.
Yep, I'm good with it.
Yep, definitely.
Cool.
Okay, so that'll be 3 dice right now.
Yep. And I've got to hit a 6 difficulty, correct?
Got hit a 6 difficulty. You have 2 right now. Mabrin rolled his. He got another one for you, so you have 3 successes in the pool right now. And
Right.
complication range of 4. Don't forget that. And Locke, you also have your command. You are trying to organize the DEGRASSE TYSON side.
Yeah, so I assume I can use my focus leadership for this?
Yes, definitely.
And the complication range for me is
Still 4.
4? Okay,
Yeah.
and then it's just 1 task roll.
Yes.
Okay. Oof.
And the complication.
Oof.
Okay. So 3 successes still would
All right.
still need 3 successes from James herself. If there's anything else you want to do.
And from memory, to buy a 4th dice now, that would be 3 threat.
It would be 3
Or
threat.
is it
yeah.
4 threat?
3
3
threat.
threat, okay. I kind of want to, but
Do it. We'll be fine.
all right. Sean's given me confidence.
Okay.
Here we go.
You should have rolled one more die there because you bought 2 extra dice on there. So you still need 1 more
No,
die.
I didn't.
You
Oh,
bought
okay.
you bought 2 with momentum, and then you just bought another one with threat. There you go.
Hey,
There you
Hey.
go.
Plus,
And you have cautious engineering.
I was about to say, plus I've got cautious engineering, so I can do that.
And you can re-roll.
I hit the challenge dice. Sorry,
one.
my bad. Wrong
Okay.
button.
Hey, look at that. You got a fourth success on there. So there we go. That actually brings you back 1 point of momentum. There you are. You're a pool of 1. Okay. So here we go. You got it. Takes maybe bare part half a day, but with all the organization, you're able to get all the upgrades completed the way that you were intending to. So huzzah for that. It looks like at the end of the day, both ships are put up, I guess it could say, to the same speed as each other. They got the components necessary to get this task done. So let's just do it that way. So where is that? All right. Let's look at our ships again. It's been a while. All right. And there it is. Yeah.
Like I said, I'd be doing scans along the way of their configuration and Borg additions, and sending details through to. I'd probably send it to Drake's console to do with as needed, just in case something happens over here.
All right, sounds good. Let's just move forward just a little. Commander Lowe, Captain Badu, of course he comes to you and he congratulates you and thanks you for your hard work and cooperation. And he gets the Darwin ready and he asks if you can get the crew of the DEGRASSE TYSON ready. He's going to use a form of the engines that he got from the Borg sphere. It's basically uses part of their transwarp drive conduit, and with both ships basically utilizing the same deflector frequency, you would pretty much ride in the same wave that they are riding in. And if his theory is correct, you will reach the center of this anomaly.
I mean, on the one hand, Commander Locke is just waiting for the other foot to drop, and he wouldn't be at all surprised if the captain just pulled a phaser on him and was like, okay, we got what we need. But that, of course, does not seem to be happening, and so Locke is friendly as can be, and tells him that he will do all the preparations necessary for his ship to be ready, and will, as soon as that is done, will inform Captain Bidot and be ready to go.
Okay. Any other because I just want to get a good stopping point here. So any other actions people want to take at this moment before we're ready? So chime in who's ready to go and who needs more time, and that'll determine when the DEGRASSE TYSON is ready.
Only thing I want to do in regards to security is using the information that James sent us to see if to implement the modulation of the phases as you would normally do against the Borg, to change the frequencies and then try to match it based off of what she sent us in regards to the special Borg and pass that on to the security crew. That's the phase 1 of the protocol.
Okay, there you go. You already got your protocol on there.
Alright, let's go.
Okay.
I will probably want to return at some point and check on our engineering.
Okay.
That we're not going to, by pushing our systems, we're not going to blow everything out again and, stall, basically.
Okay. Then we will send you back over. There you go. Anyone else?
Yeah,
would it be safe that the whole crew then would come back, or are you still leaving? Because they mostly went to assist James.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just going to say. I request that everyone who is not 100% necessary to be on the other ship return to ours. So I would assume that would leave just the captain over there.
Okay.
Unless Lieutenant James thinks that they need any engineers of ours over there.
You're wanting to bring all the Borg people over as well?
No. All of our crew back.
Just our crew. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
All right. Well, then, if everyone's in position, then Captain Badu is ready to launch the Darwin, and the DEGRASSE TYSON would be following behind. So that is going to be a piloting role from our good friend Thashran.
Don't mess it up.
Okay. Are you ready for this one, Thashran? This is going to be keeping into the wake there. It's going to be difficulty of 2. And it's going to be pretty rough going, trying to match their speed, but I think you got it with you. So Controller Daring gets your choice how you're going to roll it. And someone can roll for the ship as well.
Control and...
I can roll for the ship. That'd be engines and con.
This one would be, yeah, for that one, engines and con would work on this roll, yeah.
All right. So task roll 2?
Task roll 2, unless you're buying extra dice.
We have a momentum spare.
I do. I want to go ahead and buy one. I want to burn a momentum.
Okay.
So task roll 3. In this case, complications 2. I think I got this though. So we'll see. All right. Let's fly.
Oh, there you go.
Whoa.
That's what's up.
Look at that. All right, you got that momentum back. That looks good. All right, so the Darwin just shoots off into this modified version of Transwarp, and a moment later, the DEGRASSE TYSON launches right after it, and you're in a very weird shifting space. You see the whole void around you just warping and stretching, and that infinite point in the distance seems to be bubbling and churning and just growing closer and closer and closer as Thashran holds the ship steady inside right behind the Borgified Oberth class ship. And it's getting bigger. This white sphere gets cloudier the more you get close to it, and then before you know it, you enter into the cloud, and everything around you turns bright white, luminous, and hazy. And your ship comes to a complete stop, but it's not a sudden stop. It's just as if there's no more momentum to be had. You're just done. And both of your ships, I should say, are just floating around in there. There is on the main screen in front of you, you see, it's a bit larger on the image than
Yeah.
What's that, Locke? Oh.
Sorry, I was talking.
Oh, okay. I thought you made sense. Okay.
My bad.
On the screen, the image you see, it's a bit larger than what you're actually seeing, but there is a sphere just sort of lazily floating at the heart of this cloud, maybe a few hundred kilometers away from the ship. So it looks massive. It looks like a planet just on the screen, but it's just for reference. There is a kind of pinpoint sphere that's going on there. But first of all, I'm going to spend 2 threat on Weber. You're down in science, and you start getting all your signals from the Bajoran Shrine start going off. You check your screens, and you see that there are Verteron particles building inside the chamber again.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to investigate, or what are you going to do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking your tricorder with you, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so you see that and you just rush from your science station into the Bajoran Shrine. We'll get to the
Yes.
next part in a second. Two more threat. Here we go. Spending on that. Lieutenant James, you are there in engineering. You are monitoring everything, making sure. So far, there's been no blowouts. There's been no problems. Everything's going according to schedule until you drop your data pad. And then when you go to pick it up, your fingers go right through it. And suddenly you look, your fingers are blinking in and out.
Uh-oh.
I actually hope James says that. I hope.
Yeah, oh no, she does.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you. I hope that's line. Okay, let's cut the scene from there. And Thishran, or no, actually Drake, you're monitoring the controls. You see, you're detecting on your controls that the external hatch on the Darwin has opened. And even you don't have
Can I
to.
scan?
Yeah, you don't have
Okay.
to roll a scan. I'm sure you're going to scan, but you could see that some members of the crew are walking out of the ship, and it looks like they're walking on solid ground, but they're traveling through this cloud and getting closer to the center, this orb that's there. Thishran, you see that too as well.
Can I determine who has gone for a walk, specifically if there's any links, like species?
Yeah, you could tell there's a human, Bolian, and a Cation.
Shit. Well, I'm letting Lolth know that Captain, someone's just opened the doors and walked off of the ship.
Are we in a vacuum?
Since we don't have the science guy on there, Thishran, your data shows that there is no air outside the ship, but you're also reading that there's no air inside the ship.
All right, Commander, I'm not reading any air anywhere, not inside or outside the ship.
Well, let's assume that there is something sustaining us, seeing how we are functioning. Can you tell if it is if the environment outside of the ship is the same as inside of the ship?
You're just reading that there's no environment anywhere.
Yeah, that's just it. We don't have an environment, sir.
Then we can assume that their spacewalk is not due to their enhancements, but that it would be possible for one of us, our crew, to do the same.
I'm also trying to contact them on the little beepy thing at this point, seeing if they respond.
You contact on BP
That
thing.
assumption would be right.
You get an open channel. You get an open channel from the Darwin.
Is it anybody? This is the DEGRASSE TYSON to the Darwin. Please respond.
DeGrasse Tyson, you do not have to come out if you do not wish. We believe we know exactly what needs to be done to free us all. You might want to stand by just in case you have to make a quick getaway.
Can you give us an idea of what you're planning on doing and how you need to walk outside?
The only way, now you hear the voice of Captain Badu speaking. The only way to end this pocket universe is to break open the prison, and the prison requires the prisoner to be awakened.
Captain, what do you know of this prisoner?
We know that they are a powerful being and they have the ability to get us all to safety.
And do we know that they won't be a threat to the galaxy at large? Should we release them?
Do not worry, Commander Locke. Once they become part of our collective, they will have no choice but to help us all with what we need done. And with that, I am spending 12 points of threat. And Mabrin, you open up the door to your Bajoran shrine, and there is a blinding white light. You see a familiar figure that you know you've spoken to before, but you just can't remember what the name is. He sounds friendly, he sounds familiar, he sounds like somebody you could trust, and he reaches a hand out to you, a hand with a Starfleet uniform on it, and says, "Quickly, there's not much time. You have to come in here now." Yes or no, Mabrin? I hear crackling, so I think it's a mic issue.
Yeah, I might just.
We're losing you, Mabrin. I think you already stepped in.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I should really. Oh yeah, my finger was right on top of the microphone. So, who are you?
You're not sure. You know you've encountered this person before, but you have no idea yet.
I ask him, who are you?
There's no time. You have to make a choice now. You have a split second. You're either stepping in or you're stepping out. Okay. So
I'm stepping in.
Okay, you jump into the light. The door closes behind you. Next thing is you all on the bridge. You see a big flash of light the moment that Captain Badu reaches that orb in the center. And it looks like everything starts dissipating in a bright, expanding glow of brilliant white light. And it's moving in slow motion. You see the view screen in front of you just start to buckle, break, shatter, and start disintegrating, as well as the bulkheads around it as it's burning up in this light around you. Very slow motion. You seem to be moving at the normal speed, even though the ship is disintegrating. Very slow motion at that. And in the middle of this light, this female figure, humanoid figure, just manifests. And she looks at all of you and locks eyes with everyone on the bridge and said, "For rescuing me, I will grant you something very special. Enjoy it." And you feel the whole ship explode and rip apart around you, and everything just fades away into a burst of energy before Thishran. Very quick. Your eyes open up and you're in the dark. And you feel like the ground underneath you is very soft. You hear gentle sound of rain coming outside a nearby window. And you look, you're in a bed. You don't know where this bed is. You don't know what the room is. It's a dark room. And looking out the window with the rain, you see the familiar sight of the Golden Gate Bridge in the distance. You're back on Earth. You're back on Starfleet Academy. But it's nowhere near the surprises when the light in the next room turns on and out comes a very familiar Caitian woman, your fiancée. She looks at you and smiles and said, "Oh, I didn't expect you to be awake this early." And we're going to end right here. Episode with our to be continued. That's the end. I wondered.
Just a quick question.
Yeah.
Was it a male or a female voice?
It was male. It was male.
And a human hand.
Human hand.
Okay.
Okay. So do with that what you will. I will talk to you about that more in private chat later.
Okay.
But that is the end of episode 10, A Place for Everything.